20 Poor Man Home Defense Tricks. Burglars. Fear more than $5,000 security systems. In 1994, a retired detective in Ohio walked his own street after dark and picked out the 3 houses he could rob in under a minute. None had alarms. All shared one flaw. Security companies want you to believe safety costs $5,000. It doesn't. Number 14 stops a break-in for the price of a coffee. Number 3 scares burglars more than any camera. These 20 tricks cost almost nothing and work better than the system salesmen swear by. Hit that subscribe button. Let's count down. Number 20. Gravel where a thief has to walk. Here is something no alarm salesman will ever tell you. A burglar's greatest weapon is silence, and gravel steals it from him. A path of loose pea gravel leading to your side door. A bed of crushed stone tucked under every ground floor window, and suddenly there is no quiet approach to your house. Every step crunches, every shift of weight announces him. Real burglars have said it in interview after interview. The sound of their own feet is the thing that makes them freeze, because if they can hear themselves, so can you, and so can the dog next door. A bag of gravel costs about $4 at any hardware store, and a few bags will ring an entire window. It never needs batteries. It never needs a monthly fee. It just sits there in the dark, doing the one job a $5,000 system charges you a fortune to do. Make noise at the exact moment an intruder does not want any. Old farmhouses had gravel drives for a reason. You heard company coming, want it or not. Number 19, the dog bowl with no dog. This is the trick that works while you sleep and costs you nothing but a trip to the garage. Set a large, heavy, chewed-up water bowl on the back porch. Beside it, a thick chain bolted to a post, the kind that would hold a big animal, maybe a rawhide bone gnawed down to a nub. You do not need a dog. You need a burglar to believe you have one. A thief casing your house in daylight sees that bowl and that chain, and his brain does the math for him. Big dog, loud dog, a bite risk and a noise risk in one. Surveys of convicted burglars come back to the same answer over and over. Dogs are near the top of the list of things they avoid, and a great many of them will not even test whether the dog is real. The bowl costs $1 at a yard sale. The chain is probably already in your shed. For the price of nothing, you have planted a fear in a stranger's head that follows him right off your property and onto an easier target. Number 18, a pair of men's work boots by the front door. In the 1970s, women who lived alone learned this from each other without a single security company involved. A big pair of muddy men's work boots, size 12, sitting on the porch or just inside a glass storm door. That is the whole trick. A burglar wants an empty house, or at most a house with someone small and frightened inside. Those boots say a large man lives here, a working man, the kind who comes home tired and mean and does not run from a fight. It rewrites the entire story a thief tells himself about who he might meet in that hallway. A pair of old boots from a thrift store costs $3. Set them out. Add a man's jacket on the coat hook by the window. These little props cost almost nothing, and they turn your home from a soft target into a question mark. And burglars hate question marks more than anything. Number 17, motion-activated solar floodlights. Nothing ruins a burglar's night like being lit up like a stage. A motion-activated light mounted over your garage, your side gate, your back door, snaps on the instant something moves, and a thief's whole plan depends on not being seen. Studies of break-ins keep finding the same thing. Good exterior lighting is one of the cheapest and most effective deterrents there is, and the sudden light matters more than constant light, because a light that turns on means something just noticed you. The solar models need no wiring and no electrician. You screw them to the wall, let the sun charge them, and forget about them. $12 to $20 buys a bright one. Put 2 or 3 around the dark corners of the house, the spots where someone could work unseen. Now there are no dark corners. A burglar standing in a floodlight feels like the whole neighborhood is watching, and often that feeling alone sends him walking. There is a psychology to the sudden switch too, a steady porch light he can plan around because it was already on when he arrived. A light that snaps to life the instant he steps into the yard tells him something changed because of him, and a thief who thinks the house just reacted to his presence does not stop to find out whether a person or a sensor did it. He assumes the worst. That assumption is worth more than the $20 you spent, and it works every night for years on nothing but sunshine. Number 16. The radio left talking. Here is a trick that fools the ear instead of the eye. Leave a radio on inside the house, tuned not to music but to talk. A ball game, a call-in show, two voices going back and forth. Set it near the front of the house at a volume you would hear through a door. A burglar's favorite house is an empty one, and he confirms it is empty by listening at the door and the windows before he ever touches the lock. When he hears voices, real human voices carrying on a conversation, he cannot tell it is a radio. He hears people. People mean witnesses, and witnesses mean prison. A cheap radio costs $5 at a thrift store, or you already own one. Plug it into a timer so it clicks on in the evening. For pennies of electricity, you have filled your empty house with the sound of company, and the thief at your door hears a full room and moves on. Number 15. A thorny hedge under every window. Your grandmother may have planted roses under the windows and called it decoration. It was defense. A burglar getting into a house through a ground floor window has to stand right up against the wall and push through the frame, and a thick planting of something thorny turns that into a bloody, cursing ordeal he cannot do quietly. Climbing roses, holly, barberry, hawthorn, anything with real thorns and a mean disposition. He is not going to fight through a wall of spikes in the dark when the house 2 doors down has a bare, friendly flower bed. Bare root shrubs cost a few dollars each and grow into a living fence that gets meaner every year. It asks for nothing but water and time, and unlike a camera, it never breaks, never needs a subscription, and never stops guarding that window, not in 20 years. Beauty on the outside, barbed wire underneath. That is how the old houses were built. Number 14, the door wedge that costs less than a coffee. This is the one I promised you, and here it is. A simple rubber door wedge, the kind that props a door open, shoved hard under a door. On the inside does the opposite. It braces the door shut. For a sliding glass door or an inward swinging door, you can also lay a cut broomstick or a length of wood in the track or against the frame. The physics are brutally simple. A burglar's whole method at a door is to force it in one shove, and a wedge or a bar spreads that force into the floor where he cannot beat it. He shoves, the door does not give, and every second he stands there kicking is a second closer to a neighbor looking out. A rubber wedge costs $1 and change. A broomstick you already own. This is the trick that stops a break-in for less than the price of a coffee, and it fits in a drawer. Number 13, 3-inch screws in the strike plate. Here is the weakness in almost every front door in America, and it costs $3 to fix. The strike plate, that little metal piece the deadbolt slides into, is usually held on by 2 short screws, 3/4 of an inch long, that bite into nothing but the thin door jamb. One good kick, and the whole thing tears out of soft pine. But swap those stubby screws for 3-inch screws that reach past the jamb and sink deep into the wall stud behind it, and now a kick meets the actual frame of your house. The door will splinter before that plate lets go. A box of long screws costs a couple of dollars, and the job takes 10 minutes with a screwdriver. Most burglars come through the front door, and most of them come through it by force, not by picking a lock. This single fix defeats the most common break-in method in the country for the price of a fast food meal. The salesmen never mention it because there is no monthly fee in a box of screws. Number 12, a dowel in the sliding door track. Sliding doors and single-hung windows are a burglar's favorite way in because the latches on them are laughably weak and often pop with a firm shake. The old fix is the best fix. Cut a wooden dowel or a length of broom handle to fit snug in the bottom track behind the sliding panel. Now the door cannot slide open even if the flimsy latch is defeated because the wood physically blocks it. Do the same in the tracks of your ground floor windows so they can only open a few safe inches. A dowel rod costs $2 and cuts with a handsaw. A thief who came expecting a 5-second slide finds a door that will not budge and no way to force it quietly. He does not bring a crowbar for what should have been easy. He leaves. Here is the part that makes it so effective. He can see the latch is a joke, and that confidence is exactly what trips him up. He shakes the door, expecting it to pop the way 1,000 sliders have popped for him before, and instead it stops dead against a piece of wood he cannot even reach. There is no lock to pick, no mechanism to defeat, just a dumb, immovable stick doing a job no clever tool can undo from the outside. That plain length of dowel in the track has protected more families than most electronic gadgets ever sold, and it will still be doing its job long after the batteries and the fancy sensors have died. Number 11, security film on the glass. Glass is the soft spot in every locked house, and this is how you harden it for almost nothing. Security window film is a thick, clear layer you squeegee onto the inside of a pane, and it holds the glass together when it is struck. A burglar's plan at a window is to break it fast, reach through, and flip the lock, all in a second or two of noise. Film ruins that plan. The glass cracks but stays in the frame, hanging together in a sheet, and he has to keep hitting it again and again, loud blow after loud blow. And that noise is exactly what he came to avoid. A roll to cover a few key windows runs $20 to $30 and goes on with a spray bottle and a credit card to smooth it. It buys you the two things that matter most in a break-in: time and noise. Every extra second at that window is a second he decides you are not worth it. Here is where things get interesting. Everything on this list so far works because of one truth: the security industry spends millions to hide from you. A burglar is not a mastermind. He is a coward with a schedule. Studies of break-ins keep landing on the same numbers. The average burglar is inside and out in well under 15 minutes, and most of them decide whether to even try a house in under 60 seconds, standing on the sidewalk, doing a cold cost-benefit calculation. Is it quiet? Is it fast? Is it empty? Can I get in and out before anyone notices? He is not looking for a challenge. He is looking for the one house on the block that says yes to all four questions. Everything you have heard so far, the gravel, the boots, the wedge, the screws, works by turning one of those yeses into a no. You do not have to make your house a fortress. You only have to make it the second easiest house on the street, because he is going next door to the easiest one. That is the whole game, and it costs almost nothing to win. Number 10. A visible camera he can see, even a fake one. A burglar fears being recognized far more than being caught in the act, because a face on a recording is a face in a courtroom. That fear is so strong that even the sight of a camera sends most of them looking elsewhere. And here is the secret. He cannot tell your $15 dummy camera from a $500 one from the sidewalk. Mount a visible camera or two under the eaves, aimed at the front door and the driveway, and add a couple of window stickers and a small yard sign announcing the house is monitored. Real budget cameras that record to your phone now cost $20 to $40. Dummies cost less than $10. Convicted burglars, asked what turned them away, name cameras again and again, and many admit they never checked whether the camera was even plugged in. The threat was enough. You are not buying surveillance, you are buying the fear of surveillance. And that fear is the cheapest thing in the store. Number 9, a driveway alarm nobody expects. This one gives you something a mansion's security system barely does: a warning before he reaches the door. A simple motion-activated driveway alarm, a little sensor you stake near the walkway or the gate, and a chime unit you keep inside, dings the moment someone crosses onto your property. For you, it is a heads up. For a burglar, it is a nightmare, because the ones with a speaker announce his arrival out loud, and nothing rattles a thief like a machine that just told the whole house he's coming. A basic set runs $20 to $30 and needs no wiring. Stake it, drop the batteries in, done. Now your yard has a nervous system. Someone steps into it, and you know before he has laid a hand on a window. Big houses pay thousands for perimeter detection and get less warning than this. The burglar planning a silent approach never counts on the yard itself ratting him out. Number 8. Lights on a timer that acts like a person. An empty house has a look, and a burglar reads it like a book. Dark windows every night, no changes, curtains that never move. The fix is not to leave every light blazing, because a house lit up at 3 in the morning with no one moving looks just as wrong. The trick is a couple of cheap plug-in timers set to mimic a real evening. A lamp in the living room comes on at dusk. Later it clicks off and a bedroom light comes on, the way a person actually moves through a house before bed. Add a timer to that talk radio from earlier and the illusion is complete. Someone lives here. Someone is home. Timers cost $5 each. To a thief watching from the street for the telltale signs of an empty house, your place is the one that fails his test, because it behaves exactly like a home with a family inside, even when you are 3 states away. Number 7. A car that says someone is home. A burglar loves an empty driveway, because an empty driveway usually means an empty house. So confuse him. If you have 2 vehicles, leave one parked in the driveway when the other goes out, so the house never looks abandoned. If you live alone and leave for the day, back the car in so a passing thief cannot tell at a glance whether it is coming or going, or ask a neighbor to park in your spot while you travel. Some folks even leave a beat-up second car sitting there for exactly this reason. It costs you nothing but a habit. The thief cruising the block for the house with no cars, the house that screams nobody's home, skips right past yours because the driveway lies to him. A parked car in a driveway is one of the oldest occupancy signals there is, and it still works because it plants the one doubt a burglar cannot afford. What if someone is inside? Number 6. Cheap alarms on the doors and windows themselves. You do not need a wired system to make a door scream. Little battery-powered contact alarms stick onto a door or window in 2 pieces, and when the door opens and the 2 pieces separate, they let out a shriek loud enough to be heard down the street. A 3-pack costs about $10. Stick them on every entry door and every ground floor window, and now the moment any of them opens, the house is howling. Remember, a burglar's entire strategy is silence, and this shatters it in a heartbeat. The noise does 2 jobs at once. It shocks and rattles him, and it alerts you and the neighbors. Even the flimsiest, cheapest of these alarms works, because it is not the quality of the sound that saves you, it is the fact of it. A thief who slips a window open expecting quiet and gets a 100-decibel scream is not sticking around to finish the job. He is running, and he is running empty-handed. And there is a bonus most people miss. These little alarms often have a chime setting as well as a scream setting, so on a normal day they simply announce when a door opens, letting you keep track of kids and comings and goings, then flip to full siren mode when you leave. One $10 3-pack does the work of a doorbell, a babysitter, and a burglar alarm all at once. The professionals will tell you these are toys. The professionals are selling you something. A toy that shrieks at the exact wrong moment for a thief is worth more than a silent system that only calls for help after he is already inside. Now here is something the security industry does not want you to sit with too long. That $5,000 system they quoted you is mostly markup and monthly fees, and the little box on your wall is not what protects you. The sign in your yard is. Companies know this. It is why they hand you a lawn sign and window stickers before the technician even shows up, because the deterrent was never the electronics, it was the burglar's belief that electronics were there. And you can buy that same belief for a few dollars. Everything on this list, the fake camera, the door alarm, the boots, the dog bowl, is selling the burglar the exact same story. The expensive system sells him. This house is watched. This house is loud. This house will cost me. He cannot tell your version from theirs from the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is where he makes his decision. The expensive system is not buying you more safety. It is buying the same fear you can plant for the price of a pizza, plus a bill that never stops coming. Number 5, cut back the shrubs and light the perimeter. A burglar needs cover to work, and most people hand it to him for free. Overgrown bushes against the house, a tall hedge screening the front windows, a dark side yard with nowhere for light to reach. All of it gives a thief a place to hide while he works on your door, unseen from the street. So take it away. Trim the shrubs down below the windowsills so no one can crouch behind them. Clear the dark corners. Make sure your house numbers are big and visible so police can find you fast in an emergency. It costs nothing but an afternoon with the clippers. A burglar surveys a house for exactly this. Where can I stand and not be seen? When the answer is nowhere, when your whole yard is open and lit and visible to every passing car and curtain-twitching neighbor, he has no place to do his quiet work, and quiet work is the only work he does. Number 4, a wide peephole or a cheap video doorbell. A great many break-ins do not start with a crowbar. They start with a knock. A thief knocks, and if nobody answers, he knows the house is empty and goes to work. If someone does answer, he mumbles a wrong address and moves on, having confirmed you are home. This is where seeing without opening becomes your shield. A wide-angle peephole lets you check the door without unlocking it, and a budget video doorbell goes further. It shows you who is there on your phone, whether you are in the kitchen or at work 100 miles away, and many let you speak through them. Picture a burglar knocking on an empty house, and a voice answers, "Can I help you?" He has no idea you are not standing right behind that door. A basic video doorbell now costs $30 to $50, a peephole far less. Either one turns that scouting knock, the burglar's favorite first move, into the moment he realizes this house is watching back. Number 3, a dog. Here it is, the one that scares burglars more than any camera, any alarm, any $5,000 system on earth. Ask a convicted burglar what he will not touch, and near the top of every list is a house with a dog. Not because the dog will necessarily bite, though it might, but because a dog is a burglar's worst enemy on every level at once. It is unpredictable, it is loud, and that barking pulls every eye on the block to your house. It cannot be disabled with wire cutters, cannot be reasoned with, cannot be sneaked past. A thief can cut a phone line and blind a camera, but he cannot make a dog stop announcing him. It does not even have to be a big dog. Small dogs are often the loudest and the most relentless. A rescue dog costs little to adopt and gives you far more than security. But even the suggestion of one, the bowl, the sign, the barking sound device that triggers on motion taps into the same deep fear. Of everything on this list, nothing lives so completely in a burglar's nightmares as the sound of a dog that has just noticed him. So let me tell you the real secret underneath all 20 of these, the thing that ties the gravel and the boots and the dog and the screws together. A burglar is buying time and quiet, and every single trick on this list makes him pay more of one or the other. He wants in and out in 10 minutes without a sound. The wedge steals his seconds at the door. The gravel and the alarms steal his silence. The dog and the lights and the fake camera steal his nerve. He is not defeated by any one thing. He is defeated by layers, by a house that keeps saying no at every step until the cost of your home is higher than the reward inside it. That is the whole science of it, and it is why a family with $50 of gravel, screws, timers, and a rescue dog is often safer than a mansion with a keypad by the door. You are not building a fortress. You are winning an argument in a stranger's head, and every layer is another word in your favor. Number 2, neighbors who actually watch. This one costs nothing but a conversation, and it may be the strongest defense on the entire list. A burglar's greatest fear is a witness, and a street full of neighbors who know each other, who notice a strange car, who will call you or the police when something looks off, is a street crawling with witnesses. The old neighborhood watch was never about the little sign on the pole. It was about people paying attention to each other's homes. Tell the folks next door when you are traveling and ask them to grab your mail and glance at the house. Trade phone numbers. Watch their place the same way. A thief casing a tight-knit street can feel it, the sense that eyes are everywhere, and a stranger gets noticed fast. On the anonymous street where nobody knows anybody, he works in peace. On yours, he never gets the chance, because a dozen neighbors are the security system no company can sell you, and no burglar can cut the wires on. Number 1, make the house look lived in, always. At the very top of this list is the trick that beats them all, because it defeats the burglar before he ever picks up a tool. Every single break-in strategy begins with one belief: nobody is home. Kill that belief, and you have killed the burglary. So make your home look occupied every hour of every day, especially when it is not. The lights on timers, the radio talking, the car in the driveway, the mail and the packages never allowed to pile up, because a stuffed mailbox is a burglar's billboard that reads "empty house." When you travel, stop the mail or have a neighbor clear it. Leave a shade half drawn the way a real person does, not the sealed tight look of a house shut down for a week. None of it costs more than a few dollars and a little habit. And it works because it strikes at the root. A burglar will not enter a house he believes has someone in it. convince him someone is always home, and every other lock on this list becomes a door he was never willing to knock on. Here is my challenge. Pick one this week, just one. Put the boots on the porch, sink the long screws in the strike plate, drop a dowel in the sliding door, then look at your own house the way that Ohio detective looked at his street and ask yourself the question a burglar asks in 60 seconds. Is this the easy one or the one he skips? Tell me in the comments which trick you are trying first. I want to know if the dog bowl gets more love than the gravel. And I want to hear from anyone whose grandmother swore by the boots by the door, because safety was never about spending $5,000. It was about being the one house on the block that quietly says, not here, not tonight, not you.